Let's do some timeline stuff. Okay, so the timeline is this doohickey right down here. So if you look at what I have set up right now, I have it set to 72 frames. So let's turn on the cube. So using the timeline is basically how you are going to animate everything. You're going to key everything pretty much either using the timeline, the graph editor, and also the channel box. But the majority of it, especially in the beginning, is going to be the timeline. So let's get started with some simple stuff. So obviously left mouse, you can drag, you can move your time back and forth. So if you're going to set your parameters in the beginning, like what the first and last frame is going to be, you always set it to 1, which is your first frame. And then we're going to set it to 72. And then if you need to zoom in on your keys, you can kind of do that, right? So if you've got a bunch of keyframes close together and you need to see them, you can use that to zoom in on it. And I use that when I'm cleaning up huge scenes. So let's say I have something like 1,000 frames, whoops, right? And I have something like that, right? When you have if you have tons of keyframes in here, it's hard to see them when you're that zoomed out. So then you could like zoom into like a 60 frames at a time, and then you can move along the timeline and clean them up as you go. But we'll go back to 72. Boom. Okay. So putting keyframes into using the timeline. So we have auto tangent on there, our auto key. So if I select the curve here and I hit, there's a key there, I'll hit S, boom, right? We know puts a key down. So we'll go to 72, I'll hit S. Now we have 2 keys. Now they're not doing anything. So here I'm going to move this, hit S, it's keyed. So now we have animation from there, right? Now let's say we want to move a key. So we'll take frame 1 and we'll hold down Shift, left mouse, it turns red. Then you can either use your middle mouse or your left mouse button and you can slide it. So I just moved it over to 21, right? Z back, move it back over there. So let's say I want to copy and paste a frame. So copy, paste. Easy, right? So copy, paste. So copy, you just go right mouse, copy, select the frame you want to copy or paste it to, right mouse, paste. Easy peasy, right? Okay, now let's say we want to drag a frame that's not keyed. Like let's say we like frame 8, but there's no key there. But we want to use that somewhere else. No problem. You just middle mouse that. So you hold middle mouse down and drag it to 26, hit S. You just made a new keyframe based off of 8 in the timeline, right? So now it's slowing out, zoom, like that, right? So by doing that, you can get away with, you can key things very quickly. So let's think, what else? Okay, and if you want to grab multiple frames, let's say I have a key here, and a key here, right? But I want this animation to be over there. So I'll just hold down Shift, left mouse button, and then drag this red thingy like that. Go right here in the middle, hit left mouse, drag it over like that. Now I moved that animation in the timeline over there. Okay? So Z back. Now let's say I want to, another way to do it is you can do the same thing, left mouse, do that, and then hit copy, and then you can come over here and you can paste it, and then you have 2 versions of the same thing. See? So let's say you're doing a cycle and you want it to repeat. You can just copy paste like that. Okay, so let's delete that. Now, if you see, when you're actually what I was saying before, when you're keyframing and you're moving your frames around, if you look in here, you can see in your channel box, you can see your values changing. So when you're moving your cursor like this, you can kind of see like I'm going from here in X, I'm going from 1 to 11, right? So let's make that just an even 12. So some people who like to be really precise can kind of like to watch the channel box to see like, well, I want to take like 11-ish and move that over. So that's another way to kind of look at it to maintain, kind of keeping track of percents. But I suggest just eyeballing it. Okay, so now I have a slow out and a slow in. And that's how you keyframe and copy and paste and drag things in the time slider. So I'll do something real quick just to kind of... Now let's say you want to go from 2s to 1s, right? So I'll go S, 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 S. Let's say I have all this animation I've done, and I don't want to change it, but I want to speed it up. That's good enough. Okay, so you can't scale your keys on here. Like I've seen people always try to do this. They'll try to scale it, and then you get all these goofy frames like this. 25.19, you can't do that. It'll mess your animation up. You have to do it manually. So you go 1, 3. So let's say we want this. So you just do it manually. So you just go move that over, shift left mouse, move it. Shift left mouse, move it. It just takes a second. Shift left mouse, like that. Okay? Very easy. And then you have them all like that. So yeah, it takes a second, but that's how you have to do it. Okay? Just do that, and then you have all your keys shifted over. So remember, do not scale your keys. Because if you do, then you're going to, like I said, you're going to get this stuff. All these goofy values. Then you have to go back in the graph editor and snap them. Because sometimes you can snap them, but if you have things on 1s and you do that, you can't snap them. Then you have to go back and re-keyframe them. Then you have to go in here and you have to find those values and edit them and delete them. So you have to go in here and then you have to use your greater than, less than keys, which I should have mentioned already, but like that one right there, you know you would have to delete this, like that. And then go to the next one, right there, I would delete that, like that. Okay? Okay. So I should have mentioned that already, but I will mention that right now. So when you're going through your keyframes, if you want to, see your animation, just see the keys, you have the greater than, less than keys on your keyboard. So you just just go to the right, boom 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 boom, like that, and left, boom 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 boom. So if I do a bunch of keyframes and I want to kind of pick through them, so if I have a key here, key there, key there, key there, there, there. No, right? So there's my keys. So I can just go through my keys like that and see what's going on. Now this becomes very beneficial when you're doing what we call breaking down animation. So let's say I have this key. Let me delete this. So I have 1 and 72, right? And I know roughly around here I want this to be the high point. Now if I do this, it's kind of going straight up and straight down. Or maybe I want it to arc more. Actually, we have auto key on, so it looks good. But let's say, okay, here, I know I'll go between the two. Boom, boom, like that. I can look at the arc, right? It's straight. So I know roughly in the middle, there, I'll just raise that up. And then same here. I know right there, I want it to right there. So I'll find that right there, and I'll just raise it up. Now I have a nice arc. That's a little too high. So actually, I'll bring this down. And then between these two, right here, I want this to be a little higher. So then I know I can flip between the two and see, oh, I'm out of arc now. This actually should be lower. Bring that lower. So this would be more like that. So as I'm flipping through the drawings, I can see my arcs. And I can make sure that they're nice and smooth. Boom, boom. So here, this would be down. it up a little bit. Now I have my arcs where I want them. Now if I play it, it's pretty smooth. All right.